Welcome, friends, and thank you for tuning into the Optimal Health program today. Hope you're all doing well. As you know, we're going to chat about a variety of things, some great studies. We'll talk about dental infection and how bacteria can get into your system and cause damage to your heart, your blood vessels, your organs. So you have to keep your teeth in a perfectly clean state. We'll talk about cannabis potentially decreasing alcohol consumption. I've got a couple of funny comments to make about that. We'll also talk about environmental toxins and how they damage your body and where they come from. They're all over the place. And we have a terrific interview coming up in a little bit, about 3 o'clock. Christina from Wula Farms is going to chat with us and give us an overview as to how they started, what they're doing, some wonderful information. Very excited to have her on here and chat. It'll be a nice Zoom call. So we would love all of you to watch and look and listen as we normally do. As I say, we've been breaking 200,000 views on Saturdays, so we're very excited about that. We want to try to make our next goal, which is 225,000 people. So
we love you, Rumble.
Absolutely. We love our Rumble fans, as we love all our platforms and YouTube and each of the 20 of the ones I think that we're out there on. So for those of you who'd like to give us a call, of course, phone number here, 888-420-9272. The website for my office is drcalapai.com. The office phone number, 516-794-0404. You can hit, wrong finger. You can hit our QR code. I forgot it's backwards. To be able to go right directly to the website. And we'll give you a lot of good information. We're also going to talk about the wellness and longevity program we're doing for patients. One program is going to be for Medicare patients, and we have a whole mechanism there where we're going to do blood work and track patients and do RPM, remote patient monitoring, with a variety of different devices now, beyond just the blood pressure cuff, the glucometer, a smartwatch, a scale, a pulmonary function device. So really interesting. We're also putting in that the anti-aging program where people can have access to the nutrient recommendations we make that are specific, and the vitamin packs that we're doing based on your blood test, your condition. We'll also have the ability to do NAD, sermorelin, and a lot of the other anti-aging parts of the picture, methylene blue, rapamycin. And then the non-Medicare patients, we're going to have a whole Get Strong or Stay Strong program. So we'll be announcing that show to show as we go through our week. So let's talk about dental infections right off the bat. It's pretty scary that simple bacteria that can exist in and around your mouth and your teeth can get into your body and influence what's happening in a lot of your blood vessels, contribute to plaque. So dental infection, and we've heard this for many years, can allow bacteria to enter the bloodstream. They can affect blood glucose, fat levels, increasing the risk of heart disease and diabetes, plaque in your blood vessels. This is a large study and was a review of multiple studies. Atypical periodontitis, inflammation of the gums, can set up the stage for this as well. And chronic infection can affect the whole body. And they were looking at root canal, pre and post root canal, and what seems to happen after. I think people have to realize we have to take better care of our teeth and our mouth. A lot of people I've known for many years, of course, they'll brush and gargle with toothpaste. Some will gargle with peroxide or brush their teeth with peroxide to kill germs. I think it all makes a great deal of sense. But seeing your dentist regularly, have them evaluate your teeth, make sure there are no pockets of infection or any inflammatory issues going on, it's important.
Just real quick, Doc, we have a viewer that was listening to your advice the other week talking about getting your metal fillings removed for, metal poisoning. And they said that they had them removed. It was not fun, but they're glad that they're toxin free.
Good. Very, very important. Got to get those things out of the picture. The only thing I would do is subsequently, because after removal, sometimes liberating and removing those metals, and the fillings are 50% mercury, you want to test a urine for heavy metals because you want to see what your storage reflection is like. So how much metal out of 21 metals are in your system over a lifetime and what's being stored. If you do a blood test for metals, it'll tell you what recently has come into your blood because they're free floating. It's not a reflection of storage. So the urine for metals will tell us if we have to go beyond. And for many of those patients, we'll do the calcium EDTA chelating procedure to get that out of your body completely. But very important to remove those. Can cannabis reduce drinking? A new study shows that THC may lower alcohol consumption. My first thought is that if you can't say imbibing, if you're partaking, if I can use an old term, in cannabis and THC, do you forget about drinking? Do you just don't care about drinking? Are you so cozy, comfortable, and high that you say, the hell with it, because you're feeling great? That's probably a good part of it. But the study talks about individuals, when they look through this, people did not desire to drink and didn't want to have cravings for the alcohol. So there are some people who drink a little. There are some people who drink a lot. I think it's not healthy to drink a lot, and studies will describe that, increase the risk of gastric cancer, make your immune system weak. We try to get people to drink wine as opposed to some of the other harder or crazier drinks. The benefits of the antioxidants in wine certainly have their place, but a little moderation would be fine, but going beyond that just is not a good thing, not a healthy thing. One more comment, and then we'll get straight to our interview. I wanted to get in on that. Do we have anybody on the line yet?
No, they're just joking around about and I'll agree with this, Susan. They were saying basically, everyone was always talking about, why is weed illegal and but now, like for New York, now everywhere you go, it's just like you can't not. It's everywhere. Walking
everywhere
through
you
the
go,
city,
you smell it.
Like,
You're driving in your car, like, whoo.
Yeah.
Car goes by. You're standing somewhere.
I was walking into the deli today. I'm like, where is it coming? Where is it? Is
like,
it
wow, I'm
from
getting
the sky?
hungry just smelling that. Secondhand exposure, and I have the munchies. And I've told people for a very long time, and I applauded using the medical marijuana for people that had a variety of different pain syndromes, anxiety. A lot of my patients will go to dispensaries and either get gummies and or either take it in some fashion, sometimes smoking the actual flower component as opposed to getting the oil to put into a vape. And it helps them sleep. It changes their anxiety. And for many, many thousands of studies, it could be in the hundreds of thousands, there's really no dramatic, significant risk from it, and people do better with it. So I think it's a good option. How environmental toxins shape cancer risk? Well, we know that toxins cause cancer. We know about glyphosate and DDT. These things never fully break down. They're in our environment sort of forever. And I've said the chemical companies have been killing us slowly but surely for years because there are chemicals in everything now. You have to read the label of everything that you're putting into your body. And even at the best markets, the best places where you would go to buy food, read the labels and understand what you're taking in. I worry when we hear about, injecting livestock with mRNA vaccines. And as much as people just don't want to believe it, you have to be curious and you have to question this. That's why, in part, I tell people to get your food from organic sources. Get your milk or cheese, or as we're going to find out, chicken, eggs, butter, all of these things, meat, from places that don't have chemicals or pesticides or anything involved with them. We have to be really, really careful as to what we eat and only put the best things into our system. Keep the chemicals out. That's critically important. Okay, so we're going to come on a little bit early. Let's see if Christina's here.
I think she's ready to rock.
She has created Moolah Farms. We'll get her up on the video.
There you go.
Hey there, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Great, good to see you. So I've been bugging you for week to week to come on the show, and I'm glad you did. I know how busy you are.
Thank you for having me.
I love your place. I stopped by your spot there to pick up the eggs and and all the different foods. Give us an overview of how you started and how you created the farm.
It kind of started organically. It really did. It came together organically. I have always loved to cook. I always tell people I hosted my first Thanksgiving dinner for 20 people when I was like 10. And I just found that I can never get clean ingredients, even from when I was a kid. So I
Yeah,
always wanted the best butter to cook with. I wanted the cleanest eggs to cook with. And you really can't find that in the
it's
supermarkets, you
true.
know? So when I had my daughter, I remember I would go to the farms, as often as I could to get things for my daughter. But I remember I would read packages and labels and I would be petrified. I'd be like, oh my goodness, like what am I'm just trying to give her some basic bread. And here we are, with ingredients that you can't even pronounce. And then you look them up and they're just full of so many toxins. And like you said, you're putting these things into your body and they're touching every single cell of this small little being that is so clean. So we started with chickens.
Hmm.
And I bought chickens. And I mean, we made so many mistakes along the way. It's so funny, like when I think about it. But we bought chickens and we bought more and more chickens. And then 2020 happened and we moved upstate and I had a baby and I wanted him on goat milk.
Hmm.
So we bought goats. And my husband was like, how are you going to milk these goats? And I'm like, you know what? We can do it. We can do it. My
You'll
grandparents were
find a
farmers
way.
on both
Oh, okay.
sides.
Your
His
grandparents were
grandparents
farmers on both sides.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So my husband's first generation here.
Ah, okay.
No, I'm sorry, he's not. My children are first generation here. My husband was born in Italy. So, this kind of comes from like within us at
Sure.
the same time. And my goal was basically, let's just bring people back to basics. That's it. Just bring them back to basics. Clean,
It's so
butter is
important.
just, yeah,
And
butter
everybody
is
that I
just
know that
sweet and
travels to
salt.
Europe and Italy and France and Spain, over there they go crazy about the eggs as I have because there's no junk. It's not a cardboard egg where you're tasting nothing that we typically get from the supermarkets here. And all the food over there tastes so much better because there's no chemical in it. Over there, I think there are 3 ingredients in bread. Over here, there's like 23. So it makes no sense to have all
Yeah.
these other things. And then we could talk about the colorings, the dyes, all the chemicals that are in the foods. It's horrible. So it makes all the sense in the world to get something that's grown sensibly, perfectly, without the chemicals and pesticides and all this other stuff in it and the hormones.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you take something for an egg, for example. Like, so now my son is actually, we just want to keep getting closer and closer to the root. And basically, my son is incubating chicks now because we don't want to buy our hens anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll show you. We got this little guy hatched just 2 days ago.
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah. So we're
How
trying
cute.
to, we're trying to get to the root of it to get a really clean product. And like I said, like an egg never touches your lips till you open the egg,
Right.
right? So like, why wouldn't this be the cleanest thing that you feed your
Right.
body? It's full
Sure.
of nutrients, it's clean, it's never touched. There's just no need.
Perfect
But
source of protein, of course.
yeah, so there's just no need. But unfortunately, you know,
Well, look at
the
mass
food
production
industry is,
everywhere for every product.
yeah,
Something has to come in there and distort what nature, has originally created for us. So I love the fact that we can get, the fresh eggs or the chicken or chicken thighs and wings and milk and butter and all of that. And it tastes completely different than what you would normally have. I guess when I was a kid, I loved milk. Every kid loved milk, but you were getting, regular milk back then. It wasn't this percent, 1%, 2%, all this other distorted whatever it is. It doesn't taste or look like milk anymore. But the comparison of having that to what you have is just a world of difference. You would never drink that other processed, chemicalized milk again once you taste really good milk. So people have to understand that you can't just go with what you're being pushed into getting. You have to understand what you need to look for and what you need to buy.
yeah. And it's funny because people are so conditioned too. We all are, right?
Hmm.
So people will come and say, your milk doesn't really have like such a long shelf life. Is there any way, that we can get a longer shelf life on that? And I'm like, no, we don't want it to have a long shelf life.
You could ask them,
But
well,
they say
what
it all
chemicals
the
do you
time.
want to put into it that would risk your health just to have a longer shelf life?
Right.
Doesn't make
Right.
sense. People are conditioned to get things the way they get them, and they just don't know. They don't know enough to be able to find the better quality foods. And like I say, when you go to other countries, the food is phenomenal, and this is why. There are no chemicals in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, even like I said, even our meat, we process 2 cows at a time. So when you get our burgers, I'll show you our burgers. This is from one cow. This comes from one cow.
Right.
It gets processed, we pick it up, and it's just like I said, because if you go to a restaurant, what people don't understand is that they can get a burger and it's 5 to 20 different cows. And
Yeah.
they passed a law in this country now, from what I read. Don't quote me on it, but we're allowed to import meat from other countries. So now, you have 20 different cows being ground up. And let's be honest, once you grind it, you have no idea
Of
what's in there.
course, of course. You
You
have no
know?
idea of the potential infection in the animal. Whatever they're doing to the animal, you have no idea. So that's why having a good sort of, I don't want to say paper trail, but having a good quality product where there's none of that other nonsense going on. Why would you want to get something from other countries? Why would we have to do that? I know people consume a lot of meat in this country, but why would you get product from other countries? Who knows what they're doing with it? You know?
Finances, yeah. They want to they want to keep costs down. And I understand that they want to keep costs down. And they make it very hard too for the farmers. It's
Sure.
very, very hard for farmers to stay in business. It
And you're
really is.
sacrificing a lot of
So,
quality. I know I was
yeah, and
watching
it's hard work.
a documentary on animals and slaughtering and meat, and then meat glue. It's just they'll take crappy chunks of meat from leftover whatever that may be
Yeah,
days and however much older than days or a week old or something like that, and mixing it and putting this meat glue in it so it looks like a brand new steak. It looks like a steak that just came off the cut from the animal, but it's not. It's multiple pieces of different meats that they're making look like a regular steak. It's crazy. You can't
it
really trust
scares
them.
me. No, you can. And it's funny because, like I said, labels are really legalities, is what they are. They're just legalities. Because people ask me about the labels all the time. And I'm like, look, they really are. They're just like political legalities, is what
Right,
they are. Because so for me to bring my stuff to a market, it has to be USDA, it has to be USDA certified.
right.
Meanwhile, I have a guy down the block here who slaughters the chickens for my house. He does the most amazing job. His place is so clean.
Hmm.
He's just amazing, but I'm not allowed to bring it to the market because, it's a lot of like everybody wants, not the market, not, this is not against the market, but just in general, everybody wants, to make their cut.
Sure.
And that's really what happens. So they
Yeah.
make it very difficult.
Yeah, and
And it becomes almost not worth it. Like if you don't have the clientele, so like I'm upstate right now, like if these guys don't have the clientele, it's not really worth it for them anymore.
right, right.
And that's what ends up happening.
And
So
you
it
were
becomes
talking
very
about
difficult.
yogurt or ice cream or something like that. We'd spoken before, and the ice cream doesn't really have much of the natural ingredients in it. And how much longer can you call it ice cream if it doesn't have any milk or any of that in it? It's just it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so we move a lot of ice cream. And people feel very comfortable giving it to their kids because my personal belief was that you can eat anything. I remember I went one time to the chiropractor and he's like, well, you should stay away from dairy, you should stay away from eggs, you should stay away from gluten. I'm like, what's left to eat?
Yeah,
And I'm like, these are things our ancestors have been eating these foods for thousands of years.
it's true.
But, they've been stripped of their nutrients and now it becomes almost more harmful when
Right.
you buy the conventional items than beneficial. So, our ice cream is just cream right from the cow. I try to churn it within 48 hours from when I get that
Hmm.
cream in. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Same thing. It's cream, milk, vanilla, and a little bit of sea salt. That is my ice cream and unrefined raw sugar. That is our ice cream. So people are
Right.
comfortable giving that to
Of
their kids.
course. Of
But I,
course.
I saw something that said a lot of the ice cream in the supermarket now can't have the label ice cream on it because it doesn't qualify as ice cream because of the lack of dairy in it, which is, again,
Wow.
scary. It's all emulsifiers.
Wow.
My ice cream will melt in 20 minutes. It will be a puddle because there's not one emulsifier in
Right.
there.
Right. It's scary
That's
what
the way
we're
it
what
should
we're
be.
being sold that people think is still okay. It's sort of like they're sneaking this in from the side door and not telling anybody about it because they want to create something. But I think some food manufacturers have always done that. They inject
Yeah.
colorings into meat so the meat will stay on the shelf longer, so they'll be able to sell it even though it's not as fresh as you'd want it to be. Same thing with vegetables grown in the same soil, depleted in nutrients. It's been going on for a long time, and maybe that's just for the sake of convenience, so stuff can sit around longer and people can buy it, but you're not getting the best quality of what you should be getting.
No, and people are getting sick.
Yeah,
People are getting sick, younger and younger children are getting sick. And I'm a firm believer in like let food be your medicine. If you're going to invest in anything, before you invest in a handbag, anything, you invest in your food
you
because
should.
that's going to get you through day to day. I'm a
You
firm
should.
believer in that.
Your body does wonderfully if you give it pure, healthy, organic food. And if, as you say, a variety of types. The only slight drawback, I think, to grains lately is so much of it is GMO now. And I think this gigantic company, Monsanto, who's a very big grain creator or controller, if you have a farm and someone next to you has a farm and whatever grain they have kind of blows onto your field, you're not going to be able to grow any other grain than the one that they have because you're affecting the soil so that no other grains can grow there. This is what was a big story about this. So all the GMO of the grains is creating havoc in people. And I can tell you, out of 100 or 1,000 patients that I know that go to South America, that go to Europe, that go to any of the European countries, when they go there, they can have bread and pasta and any of the grains and have no problem. And here, they can't have any of it without getting bloating, a headache, indigestion, reflux. It's all the GMO that they're putting into the food. So it's not making us healthy.
No, I mean, it's funny. It's funny that you say that about the pesticides. This year, honey on Long Island was down 70% due to
Oh, wow.
I
pesticides,
heard that.
which
Yeah.
was really disappointing. It was disappointing for us. I mean, we're moving our hives upstate, just because we're on a very high altitude of a mountain. So we bring all of our water for baking from here. We
Uh-huh.
dug the well ourselves.
Oh, wow.
We're at a really, really high altitude of a
Great.
mountain, so we don't get any, of the junk. And then we do filter for like sediments, but this is natural spring water. Somebody actually around here bottles it and sells it. So like the water is really clean up here. But
Hmm.
I'm going to move the bees up here because there's too many
Yeah,
pesticides on Long
it's true.
Island. All the golf courses and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
the honey dropped 70%, which
Interesting you
was
mentioned that
disappointing.
because I looked at an article I commented a few weeks ago about people that live on the edge of golf courses, like these golf course communities. They have
Mhm.
an astronomical increase in risk of autoimmune disease, cancers, all sorts of crazy things. And they correlate it with all the chemicals they spray all the time to make the golf course perfect. And a lot of workers on the golf course end up with Parkinson's and these disorders or MS. And typically, people that work in landscaping very frequently will have these disorders, Parkinson's, because of, paraquat, malathion, or any of these other, pesticides they use to kill animals. So we're seeing it both in, nature, but as well in the human population. So you have to get away and just go somewhere where there's just pure water and pure air, fresh air. You're not getting exposed to chemicals. Very smart to grow things up there. I'm sure the bee population would be staggering up there.
Yeah, it's the first year we're going to do it up here. I've never done it up here. Like I said, I tried it on Long Island and I didn't have great success. I think we got like 20 pounds of honey, which is very low.
Hmm.
So we're not going to do them there. We're going to do them up here. And then even the wheat, like if you can source things, Vermont has very clean produce. They're
Hmm.
very strict about spraying in
Hmm.
Vermont. So like I get the wheat from there.
Hmm.
That the flour I get from Vermont because they have very clean
Sure.
um, flour. If you can get produce from there too, if you ever do some research and you're looking for clean items, Vermont has really, really clean items. But like I said, you have to like really go down the rabbit hole because they spray from the sky, they spray in the air, it
The
goes into
chat
the
is talking
soil.
about that, asking, are they spraying up there for you? Because Long Island is brutal with that. It's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of
They do
scary.
spray from the sky and they announce it. So like I was on a Facebook thing and they had announced it, spraying for mosquitoes. We're going to be spraying for mosquitoes. I was actually at a barbecue once in Queens and the loudspeaker came on and said, we're going to be spraying for mosquitoes. So it's not a secret.
Yeah,
They're not hiding it. They're
they've
spraying for
never hit it.
mosquitoes and anything that
And
kills is deadly.
look at all the areas. I remember on the South Shore of Long Island where they used to have a truck that would go down neighborhoods and just spray clouds of chemicals, into the trees, without ever warning or telling people. And kids would ride behind the cloud because it was fun. And, they got exposed to chemicals. And, Merrick, Belmore, a lot of these places, and the five towns and Cedarhurst, they have some of the highest rates of all the cancers, breast cancer, leukemia, lymphoma, and certainly because of all the chemical exposure. It's insane.
Right. And then it falls and it sits in the soil, in the water.
By the
And
way,
it's
your
scary.
sourdough bread is awesome. You can taste it. And I took the honey butter and put it on the sourdough bread. It's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you so much. I'm so
It tastes
happy you
like
like
real
it.
bread, not like, what people are calling bread that it's not really bread.
Someone in the chat, we have a few questions for you, but I'll save that for the end. But someone in the chat is talking about, all these breads that you get from the supermarket have L-cysteine in it, and they basically derive it from hair that they buy from people in India that are just shaving their head and giving it. It's like, oh, what is happening? Can't
Oh
Oh
make
my
my
it.
God.
goodness.
So Indian hair cysteine.
Yeah, it's a dough
Wow.
conditioner apparently.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. You don't know who to trust. I don't just trust anybody. I trust a few people. I trust Christine because her food is great. So you have a wonderful card here that I take and I put it in my office so people can see it. And I guess Frank,
Thank
we
you.
could, I don't know if we could zoom in on it if it's easy to see.
Hold on, let me get in there.
See what Frankie the Wizard can do.
I try. There we go. It's a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's our menu. We change it all. People ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, but your stuff is not on your menu." And we change it all the time. We change it seasonally. So, like this month, I'm picking up two cows next week. We just dropped them off this morning, and so now it's more of a roast season. So I won't do as many summer cuts and things like that. So we change
Mm-hmm.
them all the time based on the season. But everything is fresh. It goes from the processor to the freezers within 10 days. So it's super fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a supermarket where it's being frozen and thawed from truck to truck. No, you get it. By the time
Cool.
it comes to your fridge, it's no more than 10 days old.
Cool.
And, they also have
What kind of
to
cows are they,
process
by
the
the way?
cow.
I know there are different types of cows, but what type of cows are they?
We do Angus.
Angus.
We like Angus.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
get
we do
better
Angus.
than black Angus steak. Yeah.
No, we do Angus. That's what we've been doing so far.
Terrific.
So it's just wild that you mentioned the whole thing with the golf courses because we have someone in the chat just saying, no wonder my beehives never thrived. I am right off of a golf course. So people
Yeah.
are, you're opening some people's minds.
I didn't know. I had a girlfriend years ago whose dad, rest his soul, had a big bee farm upstate, and that was one of his businesses. He sold a ton of honey. And I remember going up there and like walking between the hives. I'm like, these things are all going to come out and just bite me all at once. And I hung out there and I got kind of accustomed to it, and it was really amazing to see how it was done. And they had goats and chickens, and it was really cool. But they go out a very long distance, and they go and grab whatever pollen they grab, and they come back, and it's like, well, how do they not get lost? Because if they're going out that far and this way, that way, it's amazing how they can track back home and do their job so perfectly.
6 miles. They'll go out
6
as far as
miles?
6 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was the first time there's certain things like I delegate certain things to my husband because there's just so many moving parts to this. So one of the things I delegated to him was the bees. So when I got close to the bees, I was like, there were so many layers to this bee thing. I mean, there's the queen and you have to protect the queen and she gets a mark on her head so you can find her. And there was just so many layers to this bee thing.
Wow.
And it is magnificent. Like, I highly recommend if you have the time to go down the bee rabbit hole. It is magnificent.
Wow.
It's another world.
I'll have to read up more on it and watch a documentary on it. Nothing
Yeah.
like good honey and some tea or honey with your food.
Oh, forget it. I give my kids the honeycomb all the time. It's delicious.
And now, and even looking at your menu, everybody's going towards bone broth and beef tallow. But bone broth is terrific for your body. It's, giving you nutrients you wouldn't get otherwise, and it's great to use just to have like that. If it's cold out, have some bone broth. Why not? It makes sense.
Yeah, so we do. So this is actually, I was going to show you. These are the bones that we do. This is from one cow, and we do bone broth and we let it simmer, for hours and hours and hours. And then what I do in my home is I have like a cast iron tea kettle. And I put it on, and as everybody in the morning, my kids are not like big eaters in the morning, but when they come home from school, everybody gets like an espresso cup of bone broth just to sip on, just to warm up their bodies, and they're coming off the bus and things like that, and just to get a little bit of nutrients in them, during these cold months.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're just putting really good things, organic things back in your body, safe, healthy things,
Yeah.
rather than the bad. And the yogurt is terrific. We've had that. The pumpkin pie was also pretty awesome. So Pop-Tarts, biscuits, oven-ready cookies, the raspberry bars, all really great healthy things.
I don't think we have more than 5 ingredients in any of our items. I really
Wow.
don't. I mean, I think in our, somebody asked me the other day, like, what's in your blueberry pie? I said, I think there's 4 ingredients in there. I think there's flour, organic unrefined sugar, butter, and blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
That's our entire pie. It's four
Yeah.
ingredients.
You're not going to find that
And
in
you
the
can taste
store.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could taste it. And if you leave it out, it will mold in 3 days.
Right,
So
right. That's the way it
it's
should be.
super
Instead of a
fresh.
burger from a fast food joint, what was that? That one woman had one that was like 20 years old?
Yeah, the Big Mac, it'll last.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm looking at it. The thing did not change or degenerate at all. The wrapper looked a little bit wonky, but when she opened it, the bread was fine, just as if it were a day old.
Ev-
And the meat patty or whatever you want to call it inside there, the brown thing that kind of they're trying to push off as meat, didn't change at all. It was just unchanged, and the fries unchanged because it's all chemical.
Yeah. And even these ice creams now, like the children's ice creams that you can get from like the ice cream man, it's like they don't even melt. Like they actually don't melt. They just become like it's insane. Like some will drip off, but like the core, it's like gelatinous.
Yeah, what are you really getting?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Scary. It's scary
It's scary.
stuff because, the kids, you know, I see like sometimes like these extreme parents that are like, no, my kid can't have a cookie. Like, oh, they can't have ice cream. Like, yes, they can. They absolutely can. You have to find a clean product
Sure.
and they should be able to have that. How can, that's, I mean, who doesn't have childhood memories of having an ice cream
Of course. Of
under
course.
the beating sun or a cookie on a holiday? But
Of
like,
course.
you should be able to have these things just clean. And like I said, we try to make everything so clean. The ice cream is so clean. It will melt really fast. I will tell you that. In 20 minutes, you'll have a puddle. But
Right.
your kids can enjoy it. And I promise you, there is nothing in there that you would be like afraid to give your
See,
kids.
part of the
Super clean
problem that I
stuff.
see, and I may make some enemies from this, I'm sure I won't on this program, is that people become lazy. People are lazy. They'll send their kid over to a fast food restaurant. You know, get the kid some junk food, he'll be happy. So they're not necessarily, and I think this has gone on for a long time in certain segments of the population, but it's easier to just have the quick junk food or the bad stuff. I mean, yeah, people can go buy healthy cookies. People can learn and figure out where to buy these things from, get organic eggs. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, you either had to live near a farm to be able to get some of those things, but now there's so much more available. So there's no excuse for not being able to get good foods, or if you want to give your kid cookies, healthy cookies, or chips, flax, etc. There are cereals that are not, the sugary, garbagey GMO stuff where some are made from flax and nuts and seeds. There's bread made from flax, nuts, and seeds. So you don't have to get, the wheat if you don't want to have the wheat because, again, a lot of the wheat's GMO. But there are a lot of options out there. And that's why I think what you're doing is terrific because you have so many options of foods that are everyday foods that people would eat. They could make their foods. The other funny thing is I'm a gadget person. I love little gadgets. I don't know if you could call an air fryer a gadget, but I bought an air fryer, one I'm going to bring to the office, made by Sur La Tub. It's a very simple air fryer. Open the doors, put the stuff in, close it. It's got a smart sensor device to see what's in there. You turn it to the type of food, press a button, and it's air. And it's cooked, and it's great. No frying, no oil, nothing else. And I did one of your chickens in it. It came out phenomenal. Of course, I had to have my Greek lady who takes care of my house, give me some ideas as to how to season it. But because she was there, and of course, she loves to cook. But it came out unbelievably. It just tastes like nothing else. You don't get that flavor from the regular thing that you buy in the supermarket that's devoid of all flavor. But, a fresh killed chicken, it's really terrific. So now I'm excited about this air fryer. I went to buy another one because the first one I bought from Sur La Table, I'm bringing to the office. The staff's going to love that. I found another one on Amazon, made by Emerald Lagasse, his company. It's got 24 different settings on it. I'm like, I don't think I'd use more than 3, but I want the 24 settings just in case. I want to do a rotisserie. It does rotisserie, boil, break, but, it does all these different things. I'm like, this is really cool. It makes it easy to make. It's easy to clean. You could do eggs. You could do anything in it. So I'm excited at the fact that I can do something simple and it's not really big to clean up.
We got
Yeah.
a question in the chat. Someone just wants to know where in New York is the farm?
So our small farm, so we're in Sullivan, I'm in Sullivan County right now, but if you want to make purchases or you want to come by and get fresh eggs and things like that, I'm in Muttontown next to Rothman's Steakhouse off of 25A.
Yep.
And on Sundays, you're over in Huntington? And does that go?
Sundays, yes, we're in the Huntington Farmers Market on Sunday. They just closed now for the outdoor space for the season, but then we're going to be indoor at 2 Melville Road North in Huntington. And then we're also every
What's
other
that? What's that
Saturday.
near?
It's the Arts Center.
Okay.
I think it's near Huntington Station. It's the Arts Center.
Okay.
It's indoor. She has great vendors. It's not a huge indoor market, but it's a nice size, and you can get organic produce there. There's a cheese vendor there. We're there. And it's nice. It's warm, it's cozy, and it's a nice place to get your fresh, your fresh items as opposed to, like I said, a conventional supermarket. It is a nice option that we have that to go to, especially,
Sure.
because of the weather. So
Sure.
it's great. And then I have the stand by me that I restock every day. If you come early, there are fresh eggs and fresh butter. It does sell out naturally. But I stock it every day. So it's
Good.
fresh. Everything
I
in there
try to
is
get by
fresh.
it early.
I
If I
just
forget to go in the morning, I go in the afternoon. I'm like, damn, I missed the chicken or I missed this or that, so I have to wait till the next day.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
mean,
also
and
on Saturdays, you're in Garden City near Eisenhower Park, is that?
Eisenhower Park has an indoor location that's open every other Saturday. So we'll be there. We're not there today, so the next Saturday it's open.
Cool.
It's an indoor location, and my husband is there, and he has bread. He brings some dairy. He brings butter. He brings meats, some raspberry bars, baked goods. Like I said, we don't put any junk in anything. The chicken I raise on Long Island. I don't even do the chicken upstate. My son is 8 years old. He does all the Cornish hens himself,
Wow.
which
How
is really
cool.
cool.
I stopped
Yeah,
by. I
he
met
does
your,
all the-
your husband and the kids a few times when I've gone to your place, and your husband was kind enough to show me the pen with the goats and there's sheep there and the chickens. You built a big chicken coop. Is the chicken coop already finished?
We did. We finished the chicken coop. It's huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
Those are breeders. Those are breeders
okay.
because we're going to try to breed some hens
Okay.
and hopefully not get a ton of roosters. So we're going to try to incubate some of those and get some laying hens because we just want to get a really clean,
Sure.
the cleaner the better. So we want to get
course.
some clean hens if we can.
Of course. That's great. That must be a process in of itself. Getting them to breed, feeding them right. I guess they love the environment, cold or otherwise, right? Chicken aren't affected too much by
No,
temperature.
I've actually lost chickens to heat. I've never lost chickens to the cold.
Really?
Yeah, I've never lost a chicken to the cold. We don't put the light on a lot. I try not to. Even if I take a loss in egg production, I try not to put a light on them because it stops them from growing like the undercoat underneath their
Really?
feathers. Yeah, so like I said, you gotta like people are so used to like playing with nature. We try not to play with nature so much. So
Yeah.
the more heat you give them, the less they'll grow for an undercoat. And then the body has to work really hard to keep warm, and that's why they stop laying.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes
so we
sense.
try not to do that too much. And like I said, now this is my son's new chapter that he's trying to incubate these eggs. We had one hatch this week, so now I am
Wow.
driving around upstate with this one little chick.
That's
I've
great.
had
What a
with me,
terrific
like-
thing to do for the kids, too. They must love it. I mean, what kid wouldn't love that? You know?
They do. I mean, look, I will tell you this, the novelty wears off very quickly. Okay. In the beginning,
Not for the kids, for the parents,
I don't
maybe,
even
but
know.
not for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know when the novelty started, to be honest. They love babies. Whenever we have lambs in the spring and, the goats kid in the spring, they love that. They
Yeah.
love seeing the calves. We had a calf with like a broken leg. My kids were like obsessed with him. Things like that they love. And then, they're kids. They get bored and, each one is good at something different.
Sure.
So
The
my
goats are
middle one is the
adorable.
truth
I remember them
teller.
coming towards the gate when I sat there, and they just sit there. They just want their head scratched, and they're looking at
Yeah,
you
yeah,
like,
the
what is
goats are
this
great.
crazy tall creature? But yeah, they're
Well, they were all
adorable.
born there.
They were born
Yeah,
there.
they were all born
Oh,
on
wow.
property. Yeah.
Awesome. Very awesome. So let's make sure everybody has your website. We have it on the screen, moolahfarm.org. Is there a phone number you'd like to give out?
You can call, yeah, you can call. It's 347-245-1457. We take orders through text. You can call them in. We use the Simply Bread app for markets, so people could place pre-orders for markets because
Oh,
they
cool.
unfortunately, like eggs and butter and things like that are limited. There's just limited production. I can't produce more,
Sure.
so people will reserve eggs and bread and things like that. And it goes up before every market. So the one for Saturday's market will probably go up no later than Monday, and people put pre-orders in. It's the Simply Bread app. If you can always text me, I'll always get back to you. You can always call the farm. We'll always get back to you. We're pretty good like that.
Good,
And
good.
we'll give you directions how to get there because it's very hard to find me
And
off of
Brookville, yeah.
25A.
Yeah, it takes a
Yeah,
minute.
it's a little hard to find me.
I've had to write out instructions for my patients. And one of my
Yeah,
patients
yeah.
who I've known for many years, she told me about your business and stuff. So I'm glad that she did. Linda Bassani, I've known her for forever. So she
Oh,
always
she's
picks up
wonderful.
stuff for you. Yeah. So I have to tell people, and my friend Tom, who is a partner of mine in restaurant businesses, etc., and his wife, I brought them some stuff, and they were just like going crazy over the mug. I said, look, you go past Rothman's, you make a right, not Mill River Road. Everybody knows where Mill River Road is. Not the first couple of mailboxes, the blue and the whatever red color.
Right.
There's a yellow buildings on the left. You've got 4 brown mailboxes. Go there, gravel driveway, you're good. But I've had to write it down
Yeah.
more than a few times. But yeah, it's wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. We love it. So
Thank you. Thank you so
let's
much.
give
And
out
we
your
love
number
having you.
one more time. Your phone number
My
one more
number?
time. Yeah,
Sure. 347-245-1457.
great. Perfect. And Moolah Farm, MOOLA farm.org. Want everybody to go to the website, go to Instagram. You have a big Instagram presence with the cool videos. And great food. That's
Yeah.
what people have to be eating. Eat healthy, great, organic food. No more junk. No junk food. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank
talk
you
to you
so much
soon.
for having me.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Thank
We'll
you.
have you on again. We'll do this. This
Thank
is
you
really
so
good.
much.
I want everybody to know about it. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Christina, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
That was awesome. I can't wait.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm going in.
Yeah,
to
it's
Huntington
just
for sure. Me and my wife. That'll be amazing.
it's. I was kind of thrilled to. Well, Linda told me about it. My friend for 30 some odd years, 39 years, because her nephew and I were great friends for 39 years. We met many years ago through friends, and we've been buddies all this while. And she told me about it, and I was very happy to go. And it's just great getting really good tasting, healthy food. It's no garbage, It's just a world of difference.
Yeah.
And I think some people are so used to having regular milk or whatever you want to call that stuff that is so thin and watery. Sometimes it looks blue, or the 1%, 2%, whatever percent. I would never drink that, but now this is terrific. I have a cup of it every day.
Yeah. And the chat's even saying like the fact that they get their they have this pure water. That's got to be like the biggest part.
Yeah, it's a hard job to do this. I know how hard they work for this, but Sal and Christina are doing a terrific job. So the more people that I could tell, the better, because then all my patients and anybody who's listening can get great, healthy, organic food. So certainly go to their website. You can call them. They're great people. And it's just sort of maybe a new food revolution we should think about because of all the crap they're putting into food all these years, I've always had a garden. My dad always had a wonderful garden at our house, and we always had amazing vegetables and tomatoes. And all the people that I've known that lived around where I lived when I grew up in Malvern, a lot of people that I know have gardens or are putting a garden together or using that device in your house, garden, Gardyn, where you're growing your own healthy organic vegetables from the little pods. This is a movement that we have to keep supporting and pushing so people can eat and have healthier foods.
The best part about that interview is when she first came in, Doc, I thought there was like some audio problems, and then I'm like, wait, I think that's a bird. And there it comes.
What's
a little
that
chickie.
chirping? There's something wrong with my gazillion-dollar setup here. There's a chirping sound. Yeah, so that's so cool. I've always thought a great thing in life would be to get a few people together and, buy a property with a stream in it so you can go fishing, somewhere, maybe somewhere warm, a little south of here, and have a farm and have the animals and have the whole set up and just be able to have healthy organic stuff. But, people think, oh, yeah, farm. It's really hard work.
Yeah, I couldn't
So,
imagine.
You got to give him credit for doing that.
I'll say though, she threw the bees to the husband. My wife was like, "You take care of the bees." I'm like, "Listen."
Certain things require a little bit more work, a little bit more finesse. But it's interesting to see that the bee populations have been decreased so much by all this crap and this pesticide. So yeah, it makes sense to grow them up there because they'll flourish up there. I've seen that firsthand. I mean, flourish like you have no idea. So super, super important. Let's see what people want to talk about.
Yeah, well, our chat saying, Susan in the chat said, we need RFK Jr. to clean our food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That should be another part of the picture because the companies that are making and producing and putting stuff in our food are killing us.
Yeah. And then what else we got? Isn't that the key? The water besides our air, finding pure water in the air. Is there any place left? Slowly, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of places across the country that are wide open and don't have any, major issues. And to some extent, I know a lot of people that lived in L.A. that just moved out and they made their money and they moved to Montana or Colorado and they just moved to a state that's clean and healthy and they've got nice property and they have the farms and they do this. Like that TV show Yellowstone without the drama and the fighting and all. But, there are places that exist like that. I've seen them.
Yeah, and we got our girl, Patriotic Lady, in the chat. She said it's nonstop chemtrails in Oregon. Sorry.
Really?
But that's just so annoying to hear because it seems to be everywhere. They're just spraying.
Well, I think a lot of that's going to be changing. I know 5 to 7 different states in the South have banned chemtrails.
Yeah. I think the problem is, I heard something where, the air, what do you call it? The air is kind of not, like you can't really control the air. That's like the government's, whatever, the air travel above a certain altitude. Like it's anyone's game as long as the government approves it. But I know RFK, he did mention, I think it may have been back in July or June, he said that he was going after, the chemtrails. And he said that he thinks DARPA is behind it. But we haven't heard anything since. So I hope they didn't shut him up. Hope he's still after that.
No, I'm sure. They'll keep shutting it down. We have to kind of watch week to week, and I know they did that. And we have to count how many states in the South, and how many states are joining on to that to be able to prevent that, so we don't get that exposure. Because a major component of that crap is aluminum, and aluminum causes dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So,
someone is asking, how do you feel about eating meat and dairy versus vegetables, legumes? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, legumes
and grains.
So there are a lot of good foods for you. And the first comment I make, because I look at this all the time, there's some people that have allergies. So if you're allergic to grain or if you have a gluten issue, you may not want to have the grain. If you're allergic to milk or dairy, then you might hold off from having cow's milk. And again, I talk to people about this every day in the office because we see the test results. Are there people that we switch over to goat milk, cashew milk, any of the other sources of milk if they're cow milk allergic? Yeah, and they'll do fine. Almond milk, etc. Are there soy milk for some people? Some are allergic to soy. We switch them to the others. So we try to get a variety of good foods into their diet, but I'm always cognizant of whether a person can be allergic or not. I think that you could have red meat easily if it's organic, if it's something healthy, and certainly for the things that, Christina and Sal have brought to the table, it's a lot better than stuff in the supermarket. You have no idea what it is or what's going on with that. I forget the name of the documentary. I don't know if you could look it up about meat glue. Maybe we should look up meat glue documentary.
All right, what do we got? Myth busting. See, ABC7 did a whole thing on it, but that was a while ago.
7 News exposes meat glue. Yeah, so beware of meat glue.
I have a buddy
Mythbusters.
Who owns a restaurant, and he had someone come to sell them like, hey, look, we got great beef for you. Look at this beef. And he was looking at it, and they were showing him filet mignons. Like, look how beautiful our filet mignons are. And, this man has done a lot of cooking. and bought a lot of produce, and he's looking, and he's, he said, Frankie, every single filet mignon was the same size. And he's like, that just doesn't make sense. You look at a filet, that's uncut.
Yeah, the tenderloin,
Yeah, the tenderloin. And it didn't make sense. And then he looks at the side of it, and he realizes there's like kind of some burn marks. And he realized that they were laser cutting out of meat glue. And he's like, get out of my restaurant. Are you nuts?
There's a video here from August of 2024. Frankensteak, they call it, using meat glue. Brisket, blah, 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 stew meat. There's also, how do you know if your meat has glue? You could look for unnatural seams in the cuts of meat, checking the label for transglutaminase, TG enzyme, or phrases like formed or reformed meat. Who would, you know what? People don't read labels anyway.
Yeah.
But if you saw this at a reformed meat, you're like, what's reformed meat? It was in prison and had to be reformed? and now it was that on parole? Reformed meat. They're always using weird names that you would never understand.
Pull that mic a little closer, if you can.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we got someone that said, do I even want to know what meat glue is?
Yeah. It's a chemical substance that sort of infuses into the meat, maybe puffs the cells up to make it look better, look healthier. It's like as if you soaked meat into something that would kind of puff it up, but they're using different cuts of meat, scraps and things, and maybe they're grinding it up in a grinder and then putting meat glue and making it look like it's a real steak. So
sounds like some Bill Gates nonsense.
It's a dangerous, yeah, exactly. It's a dangerous thing. I would look at every label from everything you buy, from everywhere you buy it. Everything.
Someone asked, Gloria in the chat said, does the body work the toxic pesticides out of the system on its own?
No. There's really no mechanism for those substances to get out of your body once they get into your cells and start causing damage. That's like the people, as I mentioned, because I have patients that have worked as landscapers that have ended up, one with MS and Parkinson's, by the way, from the chemical exposure. And it was years later. It wasn't when he was a teenager working with his uncle. It didn't happen right away, but over time that developed, and that damage from those chemicals lingered on. And, there may be no way for you to get them out. Although phosphatidylcholine glutathione IV combination, there is evidence you can pull out pesticides, chemicals, toxins, heavy metals. We use the calcium EDTA, get heavy metals out of your body, because metals also get into your body, and they tend not to leave. So more of them come in than ever leak out. But we do a urine test to see out of 21 metals what your body's exposed to, and we try to get them out of your system. And then we can prove the removal by repeating the urine, showing those things are being, taken out. So it's kind of scary.
It's crazy.
I'm going to look into something because it's been coming across my computer on my desk. Therapeutic plasma exchange, which has become a procedure that filters toxins from your blood. It may remove chemicals and microplastics. I have to look to see, which companies make these devices. Typically, you do an IV, and it's like drawing blood out of you and filtering that and putting the blood back in. So I have to look at this because I think at this time, this day and age, there's so much garbage that comes into your system. Any way that we get evidence of this and remove it from your body is a good thing.
All right, let me see. Find butcher you trust to get meat. Exactly.
And you have to find out where the butcher's getting the meat from. And I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of mom and pop stores. Which flies in the face of me loving Amazon for getting every little thing that I could possibly need at Amazon. I love the convenience of it, but I don't buy food at Amazon. But I used to love the mom and pop stores. You go in there, it's the hardware store. Or you got Mr. Jones. Hey, Mr. Jones, how you doing?
And it's so sad how those are, kind of disappearing, especially during COVID. It's disgusting.
They're gone. You have a relationship with the guy in the hardware store or this store or that store. I think if you can get a good local butcher and you know where he's getting the meat from, then that's great. That's terrific. But where are they? They just don't exist much anymore. And it's nice, and certainly I go to BJ's, I go to a variety of different places to get different things because paper towels and toilet paper are super cheap there, et cetera, et cetera. You could buy a tenderloin of pork that's as big as, your arm for $13, $14, $19. And you can get 18 cuts out of that if you like pork chops. So still, some of those things are a terrific price. And you just have to, be aware of what you're getting.
Yeah. We have someone in the chat. Their username is Duck Addict. I don't know if you like eating the duck or hunting the duck, but we love it both ways.
I like both. Yeah, I love duck.
But they said, she said, my husband is 70 and now suddenly he has allergies. Never had before.
So it's likely that in his 70 years, he was exposed to a ton of different foods, right? And if he never reacted to the foods before, it doesn't really make sense that at 70, he would just start reacting to things, whether it's foods or inhalants. But, and I've said this 100,000 times if I've said it once, you could be allergic to the grain, let's say the wheat, that would show up on a skin test or blood test. Or maybe you're not allergic to the grain or the wheat, skin test, blood test is negative, but you're allergic to the gluten. Or you may not be allergic to the wheat or the gluten, you could be allergic to a chemical that's in the food, etc. So there are multiple ways to react to some of these things. So in my world, when we test people for reactions to foods because they say, I think the foods are bothering me, we'll do blood test really quick, first blood test. We'll get some answers as to that, and then we'll follow it up with a skin test, which is more accurate, and take those foods out. If the person starts to feel better, great. We can see that and prove that. But sometimes the conversation goes beyond that. Well, I'm not allergic to wheat, blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, but there's a chemical in the wheat. If you stop eating the wheat and you feel better, there's probably a chemical that's doing it. So there are multiple ways to have reactions. The only way you figure it out is by blood test, skin test, and by process of elimination.
So I just want to apologize to Duck Addict because she did respond. She said, no, I rescue ducks. So I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
Even nicer.
Yes.
Rescuing ducks is a good thing. I haven't heard of that before, but ducks are cute little creatures.
They're so cute. Oh, my goodness.
All the little chicks and ducks and all these little animals. There's a place I'm kind of obsessed with. I watch on Instagram. It's called Myrtle Beach Safari. And they have elephants and lions and they don't have bears, lions and tigers. They have a liger, which is the biggest cat in the world. It makes lions and tigers look puny. They have all the monkeys. They have all sorts of different animals you can hang out with and play with. So you fly down there. I guess you find somewhere to stay overnight. And you could do a half a day, a full day. You could do a night. You could do a one-on-one with the animals. I'm like, how cool would that be? But they have all these little baby leopards and baby lions and tigers. It's unbelievable. If you look at their Instagram page, I'm dying to go down there, and hang out with some of the animals.
I love it. So a couple things. We got some questions, but I just want to mention on Thanksgiving, everyone in my family has been giving me crap because more recently I've developed an allergy to walnuts and pecans, which are like my two favorite nuts. So I have to stay away from them. I always keep Benadryl on the side just in case one little slips in. And my brother mentioned to me, he goes, you always get the allergies, and he's not allergic to anything. But we traced it back to, my brother was a preemie, like very early, like a month early. So they had him in like a bubble, and he didn't get any vaccines till a lot later. And I got jabbed up right out of the womb.
Yeah.
And there might be a connection there.
Curious. I wouldn't doubt it. Huh. I wouldn't doubt it.
So
a lot of people have that phenomenon. Like it used to be I couldn't have an apple or a peach because my throat would get very itchy. But if you cooked them, I love baked apples and baked peaches. No problem. So when you cook something, you're denaturing the protein that may be giving you that allergy reaction.
So sorry for my YouTube audience. Rumble just takes over on Saturdays. But I see you. And someone asked, what about cleaning out heavy metals with ketogenic diet? autophagy and apoptosis.
Apoptosis.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no one would ever beat me at Scrabble, by the way. Just not possible with all the stupid terms that I know. So the ketogenic diet helps your body to burn fat as a primary fuel. That's why it burns down cholesterol, sugar, triglycerides, LDL, all the bad cholesterol family of things. Helps you to lose weight. It can't grab heavy metals from inside your cells and pull them out of your body. People that fast, typically, like intermittent fasting, can do well at burning sugars and fats. And you can burn fat from your liver when you're not bringing things in to block your body and burn what you've just eaten, as opposed to what you would need as a fuel source. So there are good components to both fasting as well the ketogenic diet. So when people say, oh, I've done zeolite, I've done chlorella, spirulina, saunas, infrared sauna, I've gotten rid of all my metals. Then I say, well, what testing parameters are you using? And a lot of people have this sort of leap of faith because someone said it's going to do this or that. And I spoke to a patient about this past week. They said, oh, I'm doing this and that. I said, well, how much of this supplement are you using, and how do you know that you're getting that effect? Well, they said so on the magazine. I said, well, what bearing does that have on you? So I say to them, the gold standard tests for heavy metals, yes, you could do a blood test, but it's only looking at 3 seconds of blood from the needle, like from your vein to the needle to the tube. So you could have tons of metal stored in your cells that would never show up in your blood. So you want to do the urine test. When you look at the urine test, you can look at 21 metals and see what's leaking out of storage. Then you do an IV to see what you pull out, and a lot comes out, maybe more so than what randomly comes out with the regular urine test or the non-challenged or non-IV related urine test. And when I show these people, when we do it, and they do the urine and the metals show up, and they do the IV and certain metals come out even more, it proves to them that those things don't work. And I have had that conversation about, I don't think that these things work for removing metals for 37 years, because that's how long we're doing the IVs and the urine. So we're proving what's coming out. But some non-medical doctors and some people in a variety of different fields are saying, oh, take this, take that, because it'll do this or that. But you're not testing beforehand. You're not testing afterwards, so you have no idea, what you're even doing. So that's why I can prove that those things don't work.
Back to what you had mentioned about the apples, someone said that's probably why I can eat banana bread and dried banana chips, but not fresh bananas.
Right. And again, there may be things, remember, they put all sorts of stuff on the outside of the fruit to make it look a certain way. Yeah. And even if you're getting organic apples, you're safe. But if you're not, the coating, the waxy stuff they put on the apple to make it look super duper, you could be reacting to. So you always have to think about that.
Those, what is it? The Dole bananas? Mm-hmm. My wife buys them from certain grocery stores, and they are green for like a month. They never get ripe. Like they're too ripe. They don't change because they're nuking those things.
Yeah, there's something weird about that. Yeah. And then I saw something. There are these hacks on Instagram where they say, oh, if you're buying bananas, make sure you wipe the bananas down, clear them off because they won't go brown as fast. Because there's a ripening agent they put on the banana to make them go brown so that they're not sitting there green or barely yellow, by the time you're getting them in the market. So there's lots of chemicals on foods.
It's unbelievable. Someone said, please talk more about phosphatidylcholine. Is this available in IV drip or supplement?
It's been around forever in supplement form. Phosphatidylcholine, CHOLINE. Phosphatidyl is PHOSPHATIDYL. For those people who want to understand the thing we're talking about, has been around forever as a supplement, and it probably has some benefit. I think it's been used for, a variety of things. It's supposed to be good for memory, focus, concentration, but like anything else, if you're taking something orally, you have to have a mechanism so that when it hits your stomach, it breaks down, and you're absorbing it through your stomach into your blood, and it's got to get to your system. So nothing you take orally is 100% absorbed. Just doesn't happen that way, not for anything. When you look at intravenous, and I've done this for patients for many years, probably the majority of my practice, phosphatidylcholine intravenously it's really what your brain cells are made of, the lipid, the lecithin, component. And if you look at, and we have a little handout that's got a diagram of the membrane of your cells and how it's all lipid, and you have some protein, particles to hold strength and stability in the membrane. You're flushing out pesticides, chemicals, toxins, heavy metals. This is what the articles show. And people start to feel that good mental buzz. They start to feel focus, concentration, get up and go. And, they love it. The first time I went to a course, and I used to not want to raise my hand to volunteer for things, but sometimes I do, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I raised my hand to volunteer, so they gave me a phosphatidylcholine IV with glutathione afterwards. I was so buzzed from that. I was so alert from that. I was just looking out the window. I'm like, I've got to go run as far and as fast as I can because I just felt energized.
Maybe the opposite of buzzed. You had like the spidey senses.
Yeah, exactly. I was on. I was just ready to roll. I mean, I was just, I felt great with it. So I've done it, and our patients do it, and they do really well with it, especially when we want to get bad things out of the system. So there's some great literature and research on that. So it's like saying that phosphatidylcholine pulls things out, and the glutathione works as a great free radical scavenger to kind of coat and protect your cells and decrease some of the free radical damage. So I think it's a terrific option. Some people do it once a week. Some people do it a little less often. And a lot of our IV patients, and we have a lot over many years, will rotate IVs because they say, oh, doc, when we did this, I felt this. When we did a different IV, I felt that. So some people just do a different IV over the course of, 4 to 5 different weeks, and they get a far better outcome than just doing one IV. And I, many years ago when I used to go to Dr. Atkins' office, myself and Dr. Hoffman and all the other nutritionally oriented physicians, Howie Hinded, a dentist, another great guy, Harold Clark, a whole bunch of really great doctors. I'm trying to think of the other one who's up in Suffern. Michael, it's just bad I can't remember his name. I haven't spoken to him in years. At any rate, we'd go there and talk about protocols and do this and do that and make recommendations. And a lot of doctors were doing just chelation straight, once or twice a week for 30 treatments. And I said, well, if a person's got a virus but you want to get the metals out, you could alternate the vitamin C IV to help with that, or alternate some of these things, and people would just do better when you alternate them because they get multiple things improving, at the same time. As well, we have people who come in once a month through the winter to do IV, sometimes twice a month because they never get colds again. And I've seen that because it helps to improve your immune response, helps to quadruple killer cells based upon, literature. So we like to tailor the protocol to each individual.
Chat's talking. Someone regarding the fruit before, someone said, I've noticed that with pears and peaches, they aren't ripe, and then they go moldy so fast they go to the trash bin before I get to even use them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There are probably great places to get fruits and vegetables from, and probably places that are not as good. You got to really figure it out. And I think, like Christina was saying before, if you have no chemicals, preservatives in it, the food's not going to last a long time. So you get the food, eat it that day, the next day, a couple of days. You don't leave it there so that weeks or so later you're thinking of consuming it because you won't be able to. But the things that last forever, the ones that have the chemicals, you don't want in there.
Someone also was just regarding allergies. They said their husband is especially bothered with when chemtrails hit. Mm-hmm. And I'll say one thing, I'll be driving to work in the morning and I'll see those streaks, that are just spreading out. And I'll call my wife. I say, it's going to rain today. And she'll say, no, it's not going to rain today. I just looked at the weather. It's going to be a beautiful day. I said, you just wait. And when I get home,
wait and see, yeah.
It's raining. And when I go from the car to the apartment, my throat is like scratchy.
Yep.
And and I'll walk in, and my wife's always like, "Oh my gosh, my allergies are so bad today." I'm like, "Yeah, they're spraying."
So a lot of people remember, and I've had a lot of conversation about this, when that whole fog came down from Canada after whatever they did, where they started their own forest fires
yes.
in 10 different places all at the same time, because forest fires don't happen where you have 10 different places that 1 o'clock in the morning, they're all the exact same amount of fire or same amount of
they all communicate.
progression,
Start now.
And all that foggy stuff came down, and everybody was just coughing and choking on that. It's weird to think that that cloud of stuff from whatever was burning or whatever they put into the sky would just reach, thousands of miles. Doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't it dissipate and go out and up into the atmosphere?
Or drop.
I think there was
fall.
a lot more about that than we were ever told.
I'm with you there. That was craziness. New York looked like a nuclear bomb hit. It was like orange skies. It was like, well, this is it.
Looked like L.A.
Yeah.
If I want to see an orange sky, I'll go to L.A. Pollution's a bad thing. So let's talk a little bit about the two programs we're putting together. One for Medicare patients, one for non-Medicare patients, because it just works easier that way. So we do participate with Medicare, and we accept Medicare. We take Medicare's payment for your office visits. And for blood work that's done, we either use a lab that Medicare, and all labs participate with Medicare. Or for non-Medicare, we use whatever lab you have to for your insurance, so your blood work's always covered. So the idea of helping to create longevity and wellness in patients, and we'll talk about Medicare first, in part is certainly looking at your blood test, look at your vitamins, minerals, hormones, fix those things. That always makes you healthier. If we then can get you to eat right, exercise, get great vitamin levels, etc., perfect. Remote patient monitoring, what we've been doing for a while, allows us to get you on a blood pressure cuff at home, a glucometer. Sometimes we'll use those monitors that we put the patch on your skin so we can see 2 weeks or so of your blood sugar readings. There are new smartwatches now that look at your oxygen, your pulse, that can do a little EKG. There are breathing devices that can tell us about your breathing ability. So all of these things we get for you at home. There's a pill box, so you can put your medications in the pill box. If you forget to take it, we get notified. We call you, Mrs. Jones, you forgot to take your blood pressure pill. So this is just a brilliant way to make sure while you're at home, everything's going well. And if you start to have a problem, we get notified right away. If your pressure's high or low, sugar's high or low, we find out. Arrhythmia, we're able to find out and then address it. So it's keeping in touch with your doctor and your specialist, because we could obviously bring them into the picture, so that you have a better outcome, better longevity, and better wellness. If we need to do low-carb diet, bring your weight down, etc., if you're inclined and you wanted to do NAD injections, Sermorelin injections, rapamycin, methylene blue, that we can set up for you. So this goes way beyond what traditional medicine would ever do. And that's why everybody gravitates towards it. So this program for the Medicare patients, typically, as I call it, it's a wellness longevity program. And it has all of these things in it. And there may be more things we add to it. In a perfect world, if we can get a lab to come to your house to get the blood work done, that would be great. But not every lab wants to start doing that because they have to hire people to do it and blah, blah, blah. But we're still working on it. For the non-Medicare individuals, it's going to be a similar picture. And if we get the smartwatch for them, or if we're correcting their hormones, testosterone in men and women, DHEA, IGF-1 in men and women, etc., then putting all these things together with exercise and the perfect recommendations with the vitamin pack will do the same thing. So these are very forward-thinking. Traditionally, doctors put you on meds, and, they don't look back. I'd rather understand your body, fix things, and get you off the meds that you don't need. And certainly for those people that we talk about that have organ decline or degeneration or joint problems or inflammation, we typically talk about doing stem cell therapy. It will be available to all patients, as it always has been. but it's a whole new look at things in a wellness and longevity way that has never been done before. So this is one of the major things that we're talking about. We have a lot of people that will email us through the website, which we love, drcalapai.com. Sometimes the questions are simple to answer. Sometimes they're a little complicated, but we do it. And we set up telehealth for people that can't really get to the office as quickly as they'd like, and then get your prescription, get your blood work done, and we can create this program for you. The other good thing about for Medicare, the older patients, which are typically 65 all the way up, is that between my staff calling you and doing a nice little telehealth visit just to see how you're doing, or to congratulate you on losing 10 pounds and now your blood pressure's down, your cholesterol's down, etc., we have better contact with the patient. And if you come into the office a couple of times, if you do more of the telehealth visits, it's still the same review and continuity because we're tracking all of those vital signs. So it's just a better way to be able to track, follow, and maximize a patient's health outcome. So that's why we're creating a big push for this. We'll be putting some videos up, commercials on News 12 and such. We'll be getting the information out there on social media, so you heard it here first.
Someone in the chat just said, we need more doctors like you, Dr. Calapai.
Yes, I would like to clone myself in a way to be able to do more of this, but that's hard. I would have to compete with myself, especially if I start my singing career. All righty.
Let me just say, if you're watching this and if you're watching us on the replay, if you have any extra questions you want us to address on the following show, the live chat goes away on Rumble. So if you post it in the comments below, that'll save and we'll be able to address them on our next show.
Yeah, and if you want to communicate with us, you could email us, as we say. If you'd like to give us your email, and we can send you information. I'm going to start looking at doing a newsletter.
Nice.
Just as I look at articles here, I'm going to look at articles and trends and different things and have someone who's able to type, because I don't type really well, type up a newsletter and send that out to you. So if you like the idea of the newsletter, then either just give us a call, email us through the website, give us your email info, and we'll just start that process.
Beautiful.
So, all good stuff, as they say.
Yes. And I hope everyone's recovered from the feast that they had this week.
Yes, the lovely Thanksgiving feast. That's one of my favorite days because you really don't have much to do. You just kind of go over to Mom's and hang out, sit around, laugh, and eat. I just did it kind of a smart way this time. Had a little bit of everything. Waited a little bit. Had a little more of everything. Waited a little bit. Had a little more of everything. But, yeah, my cousin Peter does a spectacular job with the turkey. He'll take apple cider from Jericho Cider Mill and mix it with a little Grand Marnier, the liqueur, and inject that under the skin of the bird along the spine of the back, on the breasts. He'll put it inside. He'll put the stuffing inside, put more of that in there so it just constantly cooks, and he keeps basting it. And then he's probably done this for 40 years, as long as we can remember. And the turkey has always been moist and juicy and delicious. So that's kind of one of our favorite things. And the sweet potato or yams, chestnut puree we make. So a combination of really good things. A little fennel with, olive oil, salt and pepper as a little digestive aid in between the meal.
Listen, I don't know if I'm
Pumpkin
just
soup.
my family's too Italian, but before the turkey, we have a full round of lasagna.
Oh, yeah, why not?
I love it.
Yeah, why not? Lasagna's great. It's one of those hallmark things. And all the pasta when you were a kid is just great stuff, whether it's pasta with butter and cheese, lasagna with the meat in it. I mean, we look forward to all that stuff. A bolognese sauce, Pagliafieno my family makes, the green and yellow noodles with the mushrooms and the chicken and the cream sauce. It's a little bit overboard, but it's amazing. And now we have to starve until Christmas and then, have our Christmas meal.
We're back.
I tell everybody, as soon as Halloween hits, start doing low carb. Start doing your exercise every day so Thanksgiving doesn't overwhelm you. And then from Thanksgiving to Christmas or whatever holidays you're having, Hanukkah and stuff, just exercise a lot. So if you go a little bit overboard for 1 or 2 days, it's no big deal. Once again, Moolah Farms. Let's put up their website. It's moola.farm.org, moolahfarm.org. Great people, great products. Go there. I'm going to head there on the way home. Pick up some more stuff because I got to go to Mom's tomorrow morning. And now she wants everything from there. So I've given myself a new job on Sunday mornings. Go to church, go to Moolah Farm, go to Mom's.
There we go.
Come back, hang with the dogs.
That's the recipe.
Although tomorrow we have a couple of guys from our karate school on Thanksgiving morning. We met at the dojo because we wanted to work out really hard so we wouldn't be guilty if we ate too much. And so we did bag drills and kicking drills and punching drills and calisthenics in between. It was a brutal workout. It was great. So now we're going to do that, once or twice a week extra on top of our Tuesday night fight class. But tomorrow morning I have to be at the dojo at like 7:30. Oh. So I think I have to go to 5 o'clock mass tonight. Get up, go to the dojo. I'll have to go to Moolah Farms tonight. Go to the dojo in the morning, then go to Mom's. So I have to change my whole schedule. It's unbelievable. Well, thank you for listening. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Give us a call at the office. Give us an email to the website. Learn about the Wellness Longevity Program, the Stay Strong program, and we'd love to hear from you.